Hello, Oregon Trio Association. It is Matt once again with an update from OTA. It's been a minute. The last one was early July. We were just kind of in a summer period and we've been doing some work as a board. We had our retreat a couple of weeks ago and I just wanted to report out on some of the changes and some of the big things that are happening in our world and the stuff that impact you all. So first and foremost, if you didn't catch it before, the state of Oregon, partly as a result of the big federal funding cuts and the big beautiful tax bill, there's $500 million less dollars in this year's budget than previously. So as a result, all one-time programs and non-essential things were essentially cut from the state of Oregon's budget, which includes the funding that initially started my position, a lot of the stuff you all know 4 years ago. However, we are in a state where we do have reserves. We have a relatively sustainable program model with membership and events and services we provide and some of the grants we've won. So I just wanted to start by giving an update on the state of OTA funding and some of the services that we're going to have to see cut as a result. So with the loss of $500,000 a year out of our budget, that's about 65% cut in the revenue sources that OTA has in a given year. So we had to make some hard choices and cut back a lot on some of the services you all have grown to know and love over the past few years. Primarily, those consist of the awards. So whether it's last mile, transfer support, international education, recruiting incentive, all the hundreds of thousands of dollars we gave away were kind of the direct result of funneling the state funds directly to our students. Those are programs that we unfortunately are no longer going to be able to offer. Additionally, we've decided to take a pause momentarily from doing a statewide student leadership conference, in part because there are some regional versions of these happening. Programs we're looking to spend down some funds or do stuff with their program. We've been doing some programming in Southern Oregon. We've had our mock trial event happening in the Portland area. There's our Workforce Ready grant that's been coordinating with some student-facing stuff, and there's also some pending grants out there that could still generate elements of what you have kind of come to be familiar with as a student leadership conference. But right now, going into 25-26, the plan is not to do a standalone SLC for this year. Some of the other things that we are also stopping is the Canva. So if you are one of the programs that's been on our Canva Pro account, we are going to be purging all of those. However, if you wish to remain on, and I emailed everybody this directly if you're one of the programs using it, if you wish to remain on, it's a cost of $65 a month. I'm just going to invoice it individually. I believe that cost is still significantly less than if you were to pay for that out of your own budget to upgrade the account you have on. Again, I'm not deleting the account, I'm removing it for our team. But if you wish to stay on the OTA team aspects so you get access to all the pro features, please let me know and I can just invoice you for that individual cost, which is an allowable cost. Speaking of allowable costs, the $1,000 per grant of unallowable funds, that is also something that we are having to cut from our budget for the upcoming year. And finally there are staff adjustments that we're still in the process of finalizing with the board. So I'll have more information on that once it is officially finalized. But again, 65% reduction in our funding means that we have to make some sacrifices and make some adjustments really in every aspect of how we operate things. Our goal is to really find a truly sustainable way to move forward that can be maintained for another 10 years. I do think that there's potential for this to be a consistent piece of the kind of support we provide to all of you on your programs, but we are just having to reconfigure what that looks like with our huge treasure trove of state funds being gone. Now on to stuff that's coming up here soon. So in the start of September, remember we shifted the membership date to align it all with your fiscal year. So on the beginning of September, I'm going to be sending membership invoices out for the whole calendar year. So be on the lookout for those. I'm just going to be using the GAN numbers from prior year because they were level funded. So it should be pretty straightforward on that front. Again, if you're wanting to keep the Canva piece included, I can always add that on as a separate line item or invoice it separate, but that will all be starting in September. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here again. I know we've been advertising this significantly over the past few months, but OTA can do allowable cost services. So if you're one of these programs that have a lot of carryover that you're still trying to spend down by the end of the year, or you've been having some staff turnover. And as you go into next year, particularly the EOC, Talent Search, Upper Bound, McNair, all those programs that are on year 4 and 5, we just want to make sure you're aware of all the different things we can do for your program to help assist you, and it helps generate revenue as we're looking to sustain our program operations. I'm also going to put a link on the email that you get and just mention that we have a new calendar of events posted. It's substantially less than what you've seen in the past because there's not all the scholarship due dates on there, but I did want to let you know that all of our events and the PD offerings that we're looking to provide throughout the next year are available. You can find them on our website, and we'll start putting out calendar links for those in September. But as far as forward thinking, forward planning for you and your programs, that is all available, so you can build it into your calendar of events for the coming year. If you're a program who was looking to utilize the tutor.com access through OTA, whether you were doing it last year or you would like to start it again for this year, everybody who had students in that account are going to basically be removed at the end of August, because we basically pay a fee on an annual basis for the number of licenses that we have. So what we are doing is kind of restarting everybody at 0, and then you can enter students in again, or you can start from 0 and add students into that account who want to utilize the service. The way I handle invoicing is that at the end of every month, I go and see how many new licenses are attached to your program, your account, and that is what I invoice you for. If you're wanting to prepay for that, if you want to take some of your funds left over here in August and prepay for 10 licenses, 20, 40, 50, that's certainly something you can do. I can have the dates be from August through August of 26, so you can spend money currently, and then you would not be using next year's budget to pay for those licenses, and you can just kind of bank a bunch of those throughout the year. You would only be invoiced if you went above that, right? If your fear is like, oh man, what if I get too many, too few, right? What if I get too few and I need to add more? You have like unlimited access to add more students to give them access to the tutor.com. I am just going to look for at the every month how many active users are on the account, and if it's above the threshold you've already paid for, that is what I invoice you for. If you have any questions at all related to the tutor.com, please let me know. It is relatively straightforward once we get you set up in there. And it's something that you all and your staff can handle internally, view those reports internally. It's pretty straightforward. And then lastly, due to the summer, due to the new time frame, there is very possibly some new staff that are starting at the beginning of the academic year. Please let me know so I can get them plugged in to the resources, to the listserv, both TRIO here in Oregon and NAP. And then as well, make sure that they're on our radar for any new onboarding calls that we're doing for new TRIO staff here in the state. With that, I want to keep it relatively simple. I know folks are still trying to take time off for the most part and enjoy the August weather that we are having. More to come in the end of the month and into September as we gear up for another wonderful academic year. With that, I do not have anything else, and I hope you are having a wonderful day.